Is that about a lot of lyricists? They don't want to say leave it open for interpretation. My interpretation is it's about one specific person. Is there any truth to that, or something you want to comment on?
I always write my songs about the relationships that I'm in, or certainly the relationships that I see around me, and this song was definitely about a relationship that I was in, and I think that it's something. I was having a conversation with a friend recently who is not an artist themselves, but dates a lot of musicians, or has dated a lot of musicians, and we were laughing about how when you're a musician you always tell someone, I wrote this song for you. Yeah. But it's really not for them, it's really just about how that person makes you feel, so really the song is actually about you. So really I have albums of material about me. It's not really about a person, it's just about my experience with that person. So that's really what the song is about, is just my experience in a relationship, and it's about sort of like the emotional distance and infidelity that can come with being in a long-term relationship. Not necessarily like the physical infidelity, but certainly the emotional disconnection that can happen when you've been with somebody for a long time. So that was what it was about.
Does that take you, like you guys have written many songs, you ever think 10 years back, maybe this song isn't where I'm at in my life now, but does it take it back to that moment?
There are moments on stage for sure where I'll be singing something and have a flash and remember writing it, or remember the moment that inspired the song or whatever. But generally, just like how music can, you can put on back in your head and feel like something. You don't necessarily feel the way Sarah felt when she wrote that song, but you feel something and you connect to it. In a weird way, we're able to do that as musicians too. Like, I wrote The Con about something completely unrelatable to my life at this point, and it's only been a year, but I don't relate to the person I was when I wrote that song. I have to go, yes, I know the feeling. No, it's only been a year, but I don't relate to the person I was when I wrote that song. I can definitely go there every once in a while, but when I'm on stage, I'm singing it from a really different place now, and so it remains inspiring. I think the songs that we don't play anymore, musically and thematically, don't connect to us anymore, and that's why we don't play them. And so a lot of times fans will just be like, why don't you play Superstar? There's this one song that Tegan and Sara fans there's a group of them that can't handle the idea that we won't ever play it again. But stylistically, thematically, emotionally, structurally, musically, the whole thing doesn't make any sense to me, and I've sat down so many times I can't even count them now to figure out how to do this song. And I just can't. I just don't connect on any level, and that happens, it's just, sometimes there are just things that you just have to let go of, so a lesson to us all.
The two songs we just talked about, Con, Back in Your Head, how were those written? They written kind of the same way, or in your head the hook is just, it's there, and we go all week, boom, 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 we're playing it, in the office, and we're listening to you guys, and I'm like, I can't get that damn song out of my head. So how does that, did you know when you wrote that it's going to make people hum and sing it, or how'd you feel about the song, I guess the question is, when you first wrote it?
I remember thinking that the chorus, I always write choruses first, and if the chorus is strong, then I always will move on with writing. Exactly, yeah, if the chorus is good, then you can really start to put together the verses. But yeah, I did know it was really hooky, and, I was like, yeah, I do know, yeah, I guess so. No, I started playing it. I actually wrote the ba-bum, 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 ba-bum on bass. And I was like, that's hooky. And then I was like, what is the piano going to do? And I was like, bum-bum, and I made the piano do the same thing. And then I was like, well, what should the vocal do? Well, I'm going to have it do the same thing. It just was easy. I just was like, this song is so simple, it wrote itself. So, but yeah, I knew it was really hooky. And I always play it for someone, and I like to play it for someone in person because I think that I can tell a lot more from their physical reaction than what they eventually end up saying about it. And so, when I played it, it didn't even have a verse yet, or the bridge, the run, run, run. It just had the, I just want back in your head, that part. And it was just instrumentation for a minute until that part came on. And when that part came on, the person that I played it for was they got all smiley and weird, and I was like, okay, so I should keep working on it. Yeah. Yeah.
How about the Con? How did that come together for you?
The Con, I was actually working on, it was the exact same chord progression, or run, I guess, scale, but backwards. And I recorded it, and then it was more of a sweet, simple song. And I'd been kind of strumming it at Sarah's house. I'd been visiting in Montreal, and there was no response. And I'm like Sarah, I generally look for a response, and there was no response to it. She never mentioned it again. So I went home, I recorded it anyway, and then I got food poisoning. And when I woke up the next day, I kind of stumbled into my office and listened to the song and literally dragged the session and pulled it into the garbage. I was like, that is absolute crap. It's not hooky at all. It's not interesting. It's too wordy. Just didn't feel right at all. And then for days I kind of just I was strumming it back and forth, and then it just started to kick in my head that if I just played it the fourth and not back, that it made more sense. And I immediately started writing a verse for it, and then liked the verse so much that I was like, I'm just going to do the same thing for the chorus, just change my strumming pattern. And then I started recording it, and it was probably from like the time that I realized that the chord progression made more sense the other way around, probably 6 or 7 hours. And I just spent the entire time laying down more guitars and vocals and keyboards and synths, and then I got the MIDI controller out and started playing the drum beat. And it was probably 2 in the morning when I finished it, and I went to bed. And when I woke up, I put my iPod on, and I listened to it one time through it, and I could not stop smiling, and I was like, holy crap, I just wrote a hit! And I got up and I sent it to Sarah, and she called me and was like, that's really cool. And the vocals were really, they were overriding, like they were recorded way too high. And I left it because I thought it really hit home, like really like hit the point home. And I sent it to a few other people, and everyone agreed that it was really good. And yeah, that was it. It was just kind of like a mistake. It was just fooling around and was about to give up on it, and you know, it just happens. You have those moments. Generally, for me, the process of actually writing a song becomes kind of like a blur. You know, it's like an 8-hour period that disappears from my memory once it's done. And then I will walk away from something for an hour or 2 hours, a couple days, and then I will listen to it on my iPod, and I will be like, holy crap, like you almost forget you've done it, and you're just like, this is really cool. And if I get that feeling, then I'll keep working on it, or I'll send it to Sarah. If I don't get that feeling, like if I'm all like, when's the good part coming, I literally will go to my computer and throw it away. I don't keep anything that I don't think is awesome. Even if everyone else thinks it sucks, I still keep it. Like Give Chase, not going to throw that away. I think it's really good.
How hard is it for you guys to, like you just said, you're keeping stuff on the flip side of it, you guys come out with songs that I think somewhat are personal, you know, in my opinion. Like it puts me in this place where I'm like, wow, I feel for what they're going through, kind of. How hard is that to do? Like almost let go of a part of your life to X amount of people that are going to listen to it.
I mean, that's music, that's art, that's every painting and poem and literature, and I mean everything that people make in this world is personal. I mean, there's almost a part of me that thinks that if you're doing your job, you should be giving something personal to people. You know, a lot of my friends are teachers, and I have friends that are doctors, social workers. I mean, like everything that they give to these people is personal. You don't necessarily have to let people sort through your underwear drawer, but you can give a piece of yourself to other people to hang on to and reciprocate that energy back and forth. In any kind of line of work, and I think that there's something similar about what me and Tegan do. Like, obviously, when I'm writing the song, I'm not thinking about fans, I'm not thinking about bloggers or journalists or whatever. I'm thinking about myself and what's going on for me, and it's a gift to be able to share that with people and have them, you know, process that through their own experiences, what they're going through. It's cool to do it that way. I don't feel like it's too personal. I feel like what we do is vague enough that it's like they can't apply it really to my life. They don't really know me. But, you know, but there's still a privacy there for sure, a mystique that, you know, no one has to be a part of.
Most lyrics, would you agree, are like kind of to be interpreted by that person anyhow the way they want to?
I think that for me, it's like I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just writing lyrics that are applicable to my life, and they're not necessarily a detailed account. So, but it's my life, so I don't need a detailed account. I know what what I'm singing about, and that's kind of the joy of music, is that it becomes, you know, something that someone can interpret because it's not, you know, necessarily like a step-by-step account of something that happened. So, yeah.
What about yourself?
I wholeheartedly agree with that whole analogy, actually. I really do, yeah. I think that Sarah's right. You know, you're writing about your own feelings and experiences, but you don't need explicit detail, because I think we are those types of writers. I think lots of people write with explicit detail, you know, poetry or novels, or, you know, like, I mean, people are writing down their lives generally, but I think we're just interpreting emotion and our experiences, and they're general enough that I think everyone can apply it to their lives, and that makes it feel like I don't feel like I'm in the audience exposed, or I'm standing in front of an audience exposed. I feel like I'm standing in front of an audience relating, you know, relating the way I would in conversation. So I'm not going to tell you all about my life, crawl into your lap, hug you, nuzzle you, and like you're going to do the same, you know, but I'm going to tell you enough about me that you're going to feel close to me, and you're going to feel like you could potentially, when we stand out at the end of the night and talk to our fans, I mean, they tell us really inappropriate, I think, or personal things about themselves, but that's because they feel that connection, you know. But again, like, there's still a line where I feel like we can get personal, but it's not uncomfortable, you know. I never stand on stage and think, oh man, I really don't want to play this song because my mom's in the audience. Like, I'm generally feel like I think my mom can relate to my music just as much as you can, or my friends can, you know. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time to say hello to us.